couple of spotty light rain showers this evening and overnight. Do not anticipate much rain, at least for now. Temperatures in the 50s, 51 for the overnight low. On Tuesday, cloudy skies, periods of rain. Let's focus on the afternoon, a chilly 57. Periods of rain Tuesday night, 45. And Wednesday, showers in the morning, windy and chilly 55. The sun is back on Thursday. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Dave Murray on 104.1 FM. KMOX.
It is a cloudy sky right now, 55 downtown at the Arch. I'm Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
Traffic from the MichaelsFlooringOutlet.com Traffic Center.
This traffic reports the service of Gloria Lou of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. Still have this crash northbound 170 blocking at the exit to Olive. North 170 is a solid jam back to the Forest Park Parkway. Southbound's backed up from Ladue down to 64. Got an injury crash on Lewis and Clark at Comet. It looks like southbound's the worst part of it. Northbound's not quite as bad there. Westbound 64 is still slow as you go. Kings Highway most of the way to Hanley because of a recent crash. It's a little slow approaching the Spirit overpass at Highway K, but after that, no big deal to Wentzville. Westbound 70, just some slow stuff at the city limits. Then you're wide open to Wentzville. South 270 just off the pace. Olive down to Ladue and midway down from 44 to Gravois. Southbound 55, Gasconade Bates of a bit of a backup. Northbound 55 a little slow at 67. I'm Roger Brand in the MichaelsFlooringOutlet.com Traffic Center.
Sponsored by Gloria Lou with Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty, 314-325-6888.
Need to sell your home and you want the most money? The name to remember is Gloria Lou. Yes, Gloria Lou with Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty at 314-325-6888 and start packing.
News, traffic, and the latest from the world of sports. This is Rush Hour Sports on 104.1 FM KMOX.
Hey, welcome into Monday on Rush Hour Sports here on KMOX. Mondays mean the three of us, Bernie Miklasz, Matt Pauley, Kevin Wheeler. Hello, fellas. How's your weekend? You guys get through it all right? Did you make it through all the football watching and the World Series watching and all that?
Trying to keep up with it best we can. Yeah, I did a good job.
My thumb was a little sore.
Yeah. Yeah, it was another great sports weekend.
Yeah,
Looking forward.
awesome.
Well, tonight got the Chiefs, who are seemingly, reemerging as the team to beat in the AFC. And then, of course, World Series Game 3. And I think it's an interesting World Series. I hope it continues to be an interesting World Series.
It was a bad Saturday for St. Louis sports.
It was.
Look at what the Blues and Mizzou and Illinois did. That was a really bad day for area sports fans.
It was. Overall, for general sports fans, great weekend. Obviously, if you're fans of those teams, not an ideal Saturday. Let's talk World Series and start off with just a quick thing. I don't want to spend a lot of time on it because the 14th anniversary isn't exactly a round number, but 14 years ago today, guys, Game 6 of the 2011 World Series. I've called it the best game I've ever seen, and with the back in the fourth and the way that it ended and all that, I don't know that I've had more fun at a game or covering a game or just being a fan at a game than I had at that one. That was unbelievable.
Yeah, I agree with you. I thought it's kind of tough for me to pick one over another. Like, when the Rams won the Super Bowl, that was awfully special. But that game, as a lifelong baseball fan, I mean, that game was just incredible. It was remarkable. It was dramatic. It was thrilling. It was a wild ride. And just as a writer, trying to sum it all up on deadline was.
How many times did you rewrite?
I killed a lot of brain cells. I kept rewriting. And a quick story, I wanted it to be really, really good because it was such a classic game.
Yeah.
I left the press box that night after updating it over and over and over again and adding really good stuff. I left the press box that night at about 4:30 in the morning. Yeah. But it was worth it.
Yeah.
Because my adrenaline was flowing and I wanted to do that game justice the best that I could.
I remember I was watching the game on TV. I was living in Colorado at the time. I was doing AAA baseball in the Rockies organization. And, just growing up as a Cardinal fan, watching that game and kind of giving up on it early on. That's a night that I just remember vividly. And there was a lot of emotions. That was a game that brings out emotion, I think, more than any other game that I've ever watched in my life.
Yeah, it's interesting. Matt, it. Bernie, you probably have been down in the studio that we have underneath the green seats, like the KMOX pre- and post-game studio. So obviously we were all down there because we're waiting for the game to end. And as we're down there, the Cardinals were losing late, and they were wheeling the champagne over towards the Rangers clubhouse, and all the Rangers family members and dignitaries were all like starting to celebrate, and they were walking through the hallways there. And then, we got to go out, and because people had left, we were like in the green seats. I just posted the video today that I took from right behind home plate of the Freeze walk-off because some people had left after the Hamilton home run. But the weird thing underneath with all the back and forth, the champagne goes and then the champagne comes back. The people go, the people come back. It was one of the most bizarre things underneath. But baseball-wise, such a great game. I know, from our end, it's a classic, and on the Rangers end, it's a tragedy. But, we talk a lot about David Freese, and rightfully so, with the game-tying triple and the walk-off homer. But Lance Berkman was a big part of that. Albert was a big part of that comeback. It was just such a phenomenal baseball game with all the drama and all of the greatness that you would want to see in a classic. So figure we'd mention that for a little bit today.
Yeah. And not only did the Cardinals have to come back from a really big deficit, throughout the evening, they were, I think the Rangers went up 7-4 or whatever, and it stayed that way for a long time. So the Cardinals rally, and that was wonderful. And that, of course, like you mentioned it, with the Freeze triple, but some things had to happen before that. Pujols doubled and Berkman walked, so that set it up. Berkman was huge in that game. But I tell you what, I remember thinking, and I know people that were watching that game there or at home, Cardinals fans. So the Cardinals make the Freeze triple was incredible. It was electric. But then all of a sudden, Josh Hamilton hits that 2-run bomb. And,
he killed that ball.
He killed it. And it's all of a sudden it's 9-7. And I remember looking at the TV monitors, and you see the Rangers, you see Nolan Ryan, they're brass down there. And they're getting ready to leave their seats because they think, okay, we got this now. And then everything changed again in the bottom of the 10th. And that 2-strike, 2-out single by Berkman to score Jay and Pujols, or to score Jay, I should say.
Yep.
That was unbelievable. And it was like a Tony Gwynn hit. It was a flare, a line drive, over shortstop. No one could get to it.
Yep.
I mean, just a beautiful piece of hitting.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, when you talk to the guys that were on that team, look, David Freese rightfully gets the celebration, right? He had the 2 big hits, but that Berkman hit was just as big because you don't have the walk-off without that. It doesn't happen.
The game's over if he makes them out. It's over.
Yep.
Season's over. Yeah. And there was just so many guys who contributed in that game. You look at the box score, and I'm cheating. I admit it right now. It's like La Russa used his whole roster, or so it seemed. But, Skip Schumacher did some stuff. The Stars did some stuff, of course. Alan Craig had a good game. You mentioned that. Molina had a good game. I mean, right on down. Daniel Descalso, let's not forget him, 2 for 2.
Yep.
And he was in the middle of that comeback. So it's a cliche, but it was such a team-wide effort.
Yep.
And, they used, what did they use? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They used 7 pitchers. Jake Westbrook got the win. People don't remember that.
Nope.
I don't expect them to.
There was a lot going on there, obviously. So World Series-wise, obviously, for us, it's an anniversary for that. We all are waiting for the day that we can get the Cardinals back into some of these October games and deep into the playoffs and all of that. In the meantime, we've got what looks like a pretty good World Series shaping up. And I heard when we talked earlier, Bernie, on DGS, I couldn't agree more. I want Toronto to win. It's not going to kill me if the Dodgers win, but I want 7 games. As much as we can get out of it, that's what I want.
Because I think, look, I could eat these words, but even if the Dodgers come back now and win the final 3 games, it's not going to change my mind in terms of me really seeing Toronto as a legitimate threat, a legitimate team, a team that's got a lot of great stuff going on for it right now.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they're totally legit. This isn't some like little Cinderella story.
No.
So, but if the Dodgers continue to pitch the way Yamamoto did, and Glass now comes out tonight, and he's blowing 100 miles an hour, and I don't know. If that starting rotation's a killer the way it was in the National League playoffs, they're going to be tough to crack.
I love series where every game is its own story. And that's been this series, because that game 1, that 9-run 6th inning, and the pinch hit grand slam, first time ever in World Series. Game 2, Yamamoto throwing the complete game. Like just as long as every game is a good story. That's what I am rooting for on a night in, night out basis.
Yeah. Tonight should be fun too, because I don't think we can expect any complete games. Max really isn't in that place, but he was great his last time out. And Glasnow's been unbelievable in the postseason, but he's not going more than 6. So the bullpen's gonna play in this game for one or both of these teams.
I think so. And I still think, though, Dave Roberts made some moves to the bullpen for the World Series that I thought were helpful, at least potentially, because you got to negate Toronto's right-handed bats. They got a ton of it. And they basically added 2 right-handed relievers to the bullpen. I thought it was a good move. So maybe the bullpen will be more competitive than it has been. Maybe they've calmed that down a little bit. It didn't look that way in game 1, obviously. So we'll see. But I love the way Toronto – I love their at-bats. I love their high contact rate. I love their two strike hitting. I love the fact they don't chase pitches out of the zone very often. I mean, and that's the only kind of hitting approach that could, at least give you a chance to wear down that starting pitching the Dodgers had.
Yeah, completely agree. That's Bernie Miklasz, Matt Pauley, Kevin Wheeler with you here on Rush Hour Sports. A reminder, no sports open line tonight. We'll go right into pregame for Monday Night Football, of course, where you're St. Louis home for the Chiefs. So that'll be coming up at 6 o'clock tonight, and then take you all the way up to the game, through the game. And then, of course, we'll get to do this again tomorrow. But this is it for sports on KMOX tonight. We're going to keep rolling with a little Cardinals talk. Matt, you had a chance to talk to Chaim Bloom yesterday. We'll pick up a couple of key points from that conversation when we come back here on KMOX.
Well, good morning, kiddo. I love that you're home from college. I've missed you.
There is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisement.
Traffic from the MichaelsFlooringOutlet.com Traffic Center.
Well, good news on Highway 170. This traffic reports a service of Scott Lee Heating. They cleared that crash north 170 at the Olive exit. Everything's back on the go there. It's now slow just from Scudder up to Airport Road. Southbound 170 from Ladue down to Brentwood is pretty busy. Westbound 64 backed up. Kings Highway out to Clayton Skinkers. Slow to Big Bend. It's slow at a couple of spots between Lindbergh and 270. And from Highway K midway to Winghaven, approaching Prospect out to 70 bunches up. North and south 270 around Ladue, still kind of busy. Once you get past that point, southbound's clear all the way down to 55. Eastbound 64 a little slow at the intervale. Southbound 55 just kind of off the pace between Gasconade and Bates. North 55 a little slow into 67. Still working that crash. A little bit of a backup, not very much of one though. Southbound Lewis and Clark at Comet. I'm Roger Brand in the MichaelsFlooringOutlet.com Traffic Center.
Brought to you by your local Lennox Premier dealer, Scott Lee Heating.
Scott Lee Heating's Premier Dealer distinction means you'll be working with the best the industry offers. Learn more about our special savings opportunities on Lennox products by calling 314-756-9444 or visit us online at scottleeheating.com. This is Rush Hour Sports on 104.1 FM KMOX.
All right, Rush Hour Sports on a Monday. Bernie Miklasz, Matt Pauley, Kevin Wheeler with you here. Matt, you stepped in for Tom Ackerman yesterday on Sports on a Sunday morning and had a chance to talk to Chaim Bloom. Give me a couple things that stood out to you from the conversation, because obviously Bernie and I both heard it, and I thought there were a couple of really fun things, really interesting points.
Yeah, I thought the one that got the most attention was just the update on Lars Nootbaar. It actually got attention for the opposite reason that I thought it would. A lot of people took note of the fact that Nootbaar is going to miss time at the beginning of the season. I thought it was notable because it seems like he's not going to miss that much time, if any time at all. They did not take opening day off the table. There'd been a lot of social media speculation last week that maybe Nootbaar was going to miss the entire season or much of the season. A lot of people trying to figure out what that Hagelin's deformities was. So Chaim gave a little bit more of a timeline on that, where, again, opening day not off the table. People online, again, kind of thought it was going to be the opposite of that. But that does impact his WBC availability, you would think. So it actually was a big deal for the folks in Japan. A lot of Japanese media picked up our stuff yesterday, which was notable. And then I did ask him about the idea of players playing through stuff which might result in further injuries. And he did make the point that you have to look at that, and you have to try to make sure that guys don't hurt themselves. But at the same time, everybody, if nobody was playing at least a little bit hurt, you probably wouldn't have a team. Everybody's dealing with something as the year goes along. But it obviously was something that he was cognizant of and knows that it's something that needs to be dealt with.
You know, guys, and the three of us were exchanging notes before the show, and we all agreed on this for sure. You know, as soon as they announced he had surgery, Nootbaar, we knew that it certainly would totally affect the Cardinals offseason, because his trade value would not be as strong, not nearly as strong, because other teams they want to see that he's healthy, and they want to see if he's performing well, and then his trade value will go up if he can check those boxes early in the season. But I think the three of us have been confused by some of the stuff that's been said about this injury. There's been some outdated information going around about how, well, these things are devastating. You know, the time of recovery is like extensive and it's painful, and it takes guys a long, long time to get over it. And frankly, that's a crock. It's simply not true at all. I've been doing a lot of research on this particular injury. And because of advanced surgical procedures, you know, the downtime has been greatly reduced. This is a frequent injury with runners, like competitive runners. And it used to sideline them for 2 or 3 months. Now they're off the couch and they're starting to train a little bit. They got to work their way up. They're basically starting to do stuff 6 weeks in after the surgery. But yet you got people reporting, making it sound like, you know, like Nootbaar's career is going to be over or something. I mean, literally no one reported that, but everyone was being really dramatic and ominous. And I don't get it. I just don't understand it. I came across all these interviews with runners, serious runners, who rave about the advances in this surgery, the same surgery that Nootbaar had. And they're just saying, listen, today it's I'm not going to say it's nothing, but compared to what it was to get over this, it's a huge difference. So, but this doom and gloom reporting, and then you had people going nuts like the lemmings riding on that. And, I thought maybe Newt Barr had actually was laying in a hospital in critical condition or something. But once all the lemmings started feeding off false information,
Yeah.
Anyway, did I tell you all I hate the media? even though I'm a member of it, right?
It's definitely a thing where it's when you're looking at an example, like if you looked at Tommy John surgery 10, 15, 20 years ago, the timelines would be different. Now, especially if you do something like an internal brace procedure, which is much shorter. So obviously things progress. So an example from a long time ago is not necessarily the one to hold up. And that's why it's going to be fascinating. And it was almost like what you said, Matt. It was almost like people heard what they expected to hear, right? Because, it was initially like, oh, he's out for opening day and it could go to midseason. And your story was, and what Heim was saying was, hold on, he might be okay at the beginning. We don't know for sure, which is why we didn't give a timetable, but it could be more around opening day, a little before, a little later. We don't know. And it immediately was not the glass half full. The immediate was glass half empty was the reaction.
Right. And Matt, I thought the thing that he said that really reassured me, and by the way, I mentioned on Dave Glover's show with Wheels, can we all just accept the fact there's a different guy running the baseball operations now? Listen, I don't blame anyone in the past for being cynical about any kind of injury forecast, recovery times. No, that were put out there by the Cardinals, because it was almost always way overly optimistic.
Yeah.
So you would take it with a grain of salt. But why are we acting like what Chaim Bloom says is like, well, we should be distrustful of that? Why? I listened to the interview. I thought he made perfect sense. And the thing that, Matt, that I grabbed from that was like, well, even if he's not quite ready on opening day, the time that he would miss is going to be limited.
Right.
I mean, Chaim Bloom just doesn't think it's that big of a deal. But again, sky's falling though, baby. Once the internet catches a spark and everyone starts throwing, like grenades start going off and everyone loses their mind.
Yeah.
Sky's falling.
Yeah.
Except that it's not.
I do think the implications of this, and nothing's changed, but if this makes Newt Barr now untradeable in the offseason, well, when we were talking about 2 of 4, Burleson, Donovan, Gorman, Newt Barr, well, does it become 2 of 3 now? And Newt Barr is going to be back, or does it become 1 of 3?
Right.
And they just deal with some roster crunch with the idea that they'd like to trade Newt Barr or somebody after the season gets started next year. I do think that's a storyline worth looking at.
Yeah, and we can definitely do that down the road. Yeah.
I think the math will change on that now.
Yeah.
Just because one guy may be down a little while, certainly this offseason.
Yeah.
I don't think that means you maybe trade someone you don't want to trade just so you can trade two of 4 left-handed bats.
Right.
I mean, Chaim Bloom's not going to trade anyone unless he believes it really, really makes sense. But conversations I've had him when he's pointed out, we look at our platoon split advantage last year. We just had too many left-handed hitters. We got to balance this out. But that doesn't mean he's going to make a dumb trade to do it.
Yeah.
That's the way I look at it.
Yeah, we do need to press that reset button about the injury stuff. Like, can we just blank slate this? That's what we need to do, because it's just different people in charge, different words, different messages. And maybe down the road we got to have that same conversation. But right now I just prefer the blank slate, and let's see what they do before we decide what they're going to do. on the injury thing especially. That's Bernie Miklasz, Matt Pauley, Kevin Wheeler with you here. Reminder, we've got Monday Night Football with the Chiefs coming up a little bit later on tonight. Coming up next, we're going to switch over to a little college football. A loss for Mizzou, but maybe found something in the loss that we can talk about. We'll get into that coming up next here on KMOX.
October is National Cybersecurity Awareness Month. Quiver River Electric takes our role in managing potential
that long, that ought to tell you all you need to know about how great they are, and tell you what I can tell you firsthand what we've learned in 17 years of dealing with Saliga. The integrity is impeccable, 100% check mark for honesty. The fact they never try to hustle us once or try to talk us into something, or twist our arms and try to pressure us to maybe go for a more expensive solution. No. In fact, our experience with Saliga Heating and Cooling coming to the Miklasz home is that they will always look for the least expensive solution first. They want to save you money, and they want your business. They want you to keep calling them. So they're going to treat you with complete honesty and integrity and class and professionalism. They have no motivation to try to take advantage of you. They want you to be with them well into the future, for as long as you're calling people about heating and cooling for your home. They want to be your choice. So they have all kinds of things here. Check out the Priority Club. It's a maintenance program that's going to save you money by extending the life of your current equipment. We have saved a lot of money being members of the Priority Club. There's also some other perks. Saliga Heating and Cooling is the one. Since 1927, still going strong and bigger and better than ever. For more info, go to SaligaHeatingandCooling.com. Thank you.
Working as a dedicated Fidelity advisor, I always ask, what's important to you? I'll look at those priorities and goals alongside your full financial picture to build a
westbound 64 from about the Science Center, headed out through Bellevue, Big Bend. It's a little slow. Lindbergh to Spady. It's a little slow approaching Winghaven and right at Prospect. Westbound 70 clear sailing all the way out to Wentzville. If you're on northbound 170, Scudder to Airport Road, slow. South 170 bogs down at the Parkway. Eastbound 64, 170 into Big Bend, just a little busy. South 55 is cleared out. North 55 at 67 doesn't look bad. South 270 is clear as well downtown. Westbound 44 just a little busy at the Poplar. I'm Roger Brand in the Miklasz FlooringOutlet.com Traffic Center.
1 in 4 employees is also a caregiver. The CARES program connects them with expert support, helping reduce stress, boost retention, and save your business money. Learn more at hsmart.org or call 618-222-2561, serving 7 counties in Southwest Illinois.
Rush Hour Sports continues on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Rush Hour Sports on a Monday. Matt Pauley, Bernie Miklasz, Kevin Wheeler all hanging out here talking sports till 6. And then tonight, instead of Sports Open Line at 6 o'clock, we're going right into Monday Night Football. Of course, the Chiefs and the Commanders, and we're your St. Louis home of the Chiefs. So you're going to get the pregame all the way up to the game, all the way through the end of the game here on KMOX tonight. Let's do a little college football, fellas. I know, Bern, we talked a little bit about Mizzou on DGS today. Tough loss. You hate to lose the game, but you did see a little bit of a flash from a young quarterback who I thought in Zollers, who I thought in very difficult circumstances gave them a chance to finish with a potential of a win there. Didn't work out, but I mean, that's a top 10 team on the road and a game that really didn't have much offense until the very end.
Yeah, I thought he enlivened that team, and if you look at the drives that he led, how productive they were, nobody's saying he was perfect. He had a couple of yips, but my gosh, he's a 19-year-old kid playing on the road in the SEC, like with the responsibility of that offense on his shoulders. What I loved about it is he maintained his poise. They had a more traditional classic type of passing game because he can really throw it, and he's very accurate. He's got touch, as the touchdown pass showed, and he knows what he's doing. I mean, he's very mature. This is a guy well-versed in this passing game. Listen, statistically, and it's not even a debate, he was the best quarterback in that game. He was better than Pavia. I mean, seriously, it's not even debatable. And for a kid 19 years old to come in under those circumstances, facing the number 10 team in the country that had a great defense that had shut down Mizzou, for him to give Mizzou a chance to win that game by making so many plays, it was really one of the better performances by any quarterback in Power Conference football on Saturday. It was really, really impressive. So you got to feel good about his future.
It's going to be fun to watch him, and I'm glad they have this off week coming up because they'll be able to really work him and figure out what they're going to do offensively. And we've seen this a little bit this year in college. At Pitt, they started the year with the Holstein kid, and then they went to Heinstone. They haven't lost a game since they made that move. Obviously, not apples to apples when you're talking ACC versus SEC. But if this team is not going to be a team that's really getting into the college football playoff, if they're a team that's already lost an opportunity to be in a conference championship game, well, then go see what you have in a young quarterback, assuming you can still win the games that you're supposed to win. It's going to be really hard to run the table, and it's probably going to be hard to get into the college football playoff with 3 losses. So this is an opportunity for this team moving forward to see what they have in Zollers.
Couple of things about the kid that I really liked. In third and fourth down in that game, he was 7 out of 8. His accuracy was off the charts. Threw a touchdown pass. 7 out of 8, third and fourth down. The other thing, and this is really meaningful, like if I just throw the number out, you need the context. His average depth of throw in that game was 11 yards. Now, what does that mean? It means that under Bo Prabula this season, the average depth of throw was more like 5.5 yards.
Yeah.
And this has been the thing I've been talking about all season. I love Bo Prabula, the competitor. And all that. He just doesn't have the arm strength to get the ball downfield. This kid does, which means it can change Mizzou's offense because they now are a threat to go deep. He's got the gun to do that.
Yeah,
as they did on the final throw of the game, but they came up 1 yard.
Wow,
short.
I know, man.
Yeah.
That was, you could see in real time that he was short, but man, he come up that close. I mean, again, that was a really good battle. And I think, Bernie, you nailed it. This is something I think was hurting Mizzou's running game too, was the lack of ability to throw the ball down the field, right? Yeah. I mean, you've got a great running back in Ahmad Hardy. I don't think there's any question about his talent. You have really a talented group of wide receivers that can do a lot of different things. But when you're not a threat beyond 8, 9, 10 yards down the field, everybody's up close. And I wonder, it's going to be a tough test for Texas A&M, and maybe that does put you out of the playoff mix or whatever. But at this point, if you have this threat building moving forward, it can open up the rest of your game, because when they played SEC teams, they just didn't move the football.
Yeah, two things. First of all, I was doing some research on Mike Elko and Texas A&M. Oh, listen, Mike Elko's got 2 weeks to prepare for the kid quarterback at Mizzou.
Right.
And he's gonna throw so many different looks at him. He's gonna try to turn his head around every which way. They'll be disguising coverages, right at the snap, switching into another defense. Mike Elko's a superb coach. And the other thing I noticed, and I had to do some deep dive stuff on this, I won't give you the numbers. They're a great third down defense. They give up some yards. They really do, Texas A&M. But when they need to make a stop on third down, they're nasty. So this will be a big test. So I'm not saying this kid, I'm not saying Zollers is going to be great
right
every time out. He's going to have a bunch of tests.
Yes.
But my gosh, and one other related thing to what we were talking about, throwing the ball downfield, I look at that freshman that they have, Donovan Olugbenede, and
he's good, man.
He is an unbelievable talent.
Yeah.
I'm going to use the word freak, which is common these days, to just talk about someone's incredible talent. He's a freak. He's big. He's fast. He's fluid. He runs, great routes. And I'm looking at this. This kid's got 12 catches this year.
I know. He had one against Vandy.
And it's like, this kid should be out there just killing defenses.
Yeah.
But they haven't had a quarterback who can get them the ball downfield.
Yeah.
And, as a Mizzou fan, you know what I'm worried about? This kid's going to get offered a ton of money in NIL by some other program. And you know what? Unless they got a quarterback who can get him the rock down the field, I wouldn't blame the kid for going.
Yeah.
That's actually why I think there's some benefit to the Zollers thing as well, because who's to say if Purbuio plays the whole season, if Zollers gets to the end of the season and says, you know what, maybe I can go elsewhere. And that's the really challenging thing right now in college football, is a lack of opportunity for somebody who you think can be a big part of your program can actually turn into that player leaving the program.
Yeah, it can. And I'll say that, in this era, we're seeing it with Diego Pavia as an example. We saw it with Cam Ward last year. We've seen it all across the country. The guys that have a lot of reps tend to be the guys that the big schools really want, right? So if a guy like Zollers is leaving, I doubt it's to go be the quarterback at Florida, right? If they're going to go get somebody, they're going to want somebody that played 30 games or something along those lines. But he could go to a place where he's going to play and put up those numbers and then do it again and then end up at Florida or at Tennessee or wherever. But playing means something, and I hate that it happened the way that it did, and that was really a crappy injury. We all feel for Bo Pribula. That sucks.
Of course.
But that long term, you're right, Matt. This might end up being the thing that opens the door to Zollers being your guy moving forward, because he'll get a chance to play and establish himself. Hopefully. Well,
if Eli Drinkwitz leaves, he better make sure that Zollers stays behind, right? And as I put in my column today at STL Sports Central, it's like, hey, whoever's running all these NIL things at Mizzou, just order up another Brinks truck, because you're going to have to pay to keep this kid here. I think, let's not forget that he was rated like the number 6 pocket passer coming out of high school.
Yeah.
So this isn't just a fluky guy.
No,
he's got real, as they say in cliche land, he's got real arm talent. He really does.
Yeah, and that was evident right away. The first 2 or 3 throws that he ripped, they may not have been perfect. They may not have been, right where you want them, although there were a few in there that were beautiful. But you could see right away when he threw it, it was different. It was different than Pribula. It was different than Pavia, and Pavia is a really good player.
His catchable ball rate in that game was fantastic. I'm talking about Zollers. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
I mentioned Heinschel earlier. Isn't it incredible that these young 18, 19-year-old quarterbacks are walking into major college football and they just look like they belong? Like, none of these guys ever just don't look like they're supposed to be there. It really is. And that says something about what's happening at the lower levels and these high-level quarterbacks and the coaching that they are getting at the prep level before they even walk in the door.
Oh, yeah. Individual quarterback coaches, the strength training, they're bigger and stronger. They show up, and this is true for every position. These guys show up. They don't look like freshmen. They look like juniors. with the body that they got out there. I mean, my favorite freshman of the year is Malachi Toney at Miami. This guy's one of the best receivers in the country, and he's just turned 18 last month. I mean, these guys come in with all that extra training, and obviously that's including the physical training on top of the football stuff on the field. All right, real quick, we're going to take a short time out. We'll let you know what's going on around town when it comes to traffic, and we'll wrap up Rush Hour Sports with Bernie Miklasz, Matt Pauley, and Kevin Wheeler next here on KMOX.
Traffic from the MichaelsFlooringOutlet.com Traffic Center.
Well, if you're driving home on westbound 64, you've just got some slow traffic from really about Clayton Skinker through McCausland. That's about the worst of it there. After that, it's good run through the valley, and it's good run. Yeah, it's a little slow at Lake St. Louis Boulevard. Really not that big of a deal. Westbound 70 still looks great from downtown all the way to Wentzville. South 170 from the Parkway down to 64 slow. Eastbound 64 a little busy at Big Bend. South 270 is clear. Southbound 55 is cleared. Northbound 55 at 67. Just that usual maybe half mile slowdown. That's about all she wrote. Illinois highways have been in great shape all evening. I'm Roger Brand in the MichaelsFlooringOutlet.com Traffic Center.
All right, let's pick it back up on the college football side here on Rush Hour Sports on KMOX. We're deep enough into the season now. We're getting close to the college football playoff ratings and all of that coming out, and we'll be building toward that discussion. Guys, my favorite part about this season is that it feels so wide open. And it's not to say that there aren't super talented teams at the top or anything like that. I don't see like one or two where we weren't that long ago looking at it like every year it's either Alabama or Clemson or it's Georgia or Alabama or something like that. Maybe you guys disagree with me, but I think it's a lot more wide open this year when it comes to the whoever makes the playoffs having a chance to advance. And of course, a bye week matters, home field will matter, but in terms of ability, I think it's wide open.
Yeah, it's more spread out. There's more danger now. Like I think we all agree that at least to this point, Ohio State and Indiana stand out. But after that, there's a bunch of teams that are really, really, really good, but they're not necessarily better than each other. And I think that really big second tier of teams, there's a lot of danger there. But even towards the bottom, maybe the third tier teams that are competing for a playoff spot, there's a lot of danger there as well. So yeah, I totally agree. I think that's been one of the really great things about this era. It has it leveled off the playing field more than I would have imagined. It's been great.
I guess I look at it, I'm not quite sure where the cutoff is because I look at who are my best of the best teams. And Bernie, I think Ohio State and Indiana, I would probably include Texas A&M in there. Alabama looks at sometime. I'm not totally bought in on them. Then there is that next group that you talk about. And I can see a scenario where in Alabama, where in Georgia, where in Oregon, where in Ole Miss can go beat an Ohio State or an Indiana. I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility that on a single game, those teams could end up winning. So I don't know where my cutoff is for legitimate national contenders. If we look at that first tier and that second tier being that group, maybe just look at the AP poll, maybe I stop at Georgia Tech, Vanderbilt, BYU. I don't really completely buy those teams as being able to beat an Ohio State or an Indiana, but I think Ole Miss could go beat Ohio State on if all the circumstances work out the right way. So in my mind, I look at a good 7 teams that I think could win a national title right now.
Yeah, and I agree with both of you guys. I think Ohio, I test Ohio State, Indiana, Texas A&M, they all pass. I mean, there's no question. But if you're looking at Ohio State, Texas and Illinois are your best opponents, and neither one of them is very good right now.
No.
Illinois hasn't looked good for a month now. Indiana's kind of the same, although I give Indiana I think they have the best win in the country. Their win against Oregon is the best win in the country. And I know that this is a simplistic way, and the season will sort it out, which is why I love the current college football as opposed to the old way, because it will get sorted. If you're up there, you'll get your chance. You've got your shot in the playoff. You'll be able to prove it one way or the other. But I feel like even the teams that are at the top still have more to show in terms of results, not just ability. They have the ability. That's not the question.
There's, as I'm sitting here, there's 12 or 13 teams that still have a 40% chance to make the playoff.
Yeah.
And that's a lot. I mean, usually by then it would be much more thinned out. Yeah, it's going to be fascinating. I think I thought last year's tournament was really, really good. I think this year will be maybe even better.
Yeah.
Quick thing that doesn't really matter, but I want to mention it because it annoyed me. We are living this year in college football. It happens all the time where a team wins a game and they actually drop in the rankings because the voters don't think it was impressive enough. How in the world did Texas move up 2 spots after they should have lost at Mississippi State? It's because they're Texas. That's the only reason why.
Yeah.
The voters had a track record this year of dropping teams in the rankings after non-impressive wins, and then Texas should have lost against Mississippi State, and they move up 2 spots. It's ridiculous.
You get the helmet decal bonus. That's all there is to it. How in the world was Florida in the second week of the season ranked 11th in the polls after beating Long Island University? How in the world was South Carolina 13th? I mean, I could keep going. Like if you're in the SEC, you don't even have to be a great SEC team. You get the SEC discount, and there's some of that going on in the Big Ten, but not as bad as the SEC. No, the internal bias in this system is an absolute disgrace.
Yeah.
It's not all fair. They're not all judged the same. You get the name brand historical coupon free pass. Oh, you don't have to stand in the back of the line. Here, move up. No, it makes me sick.
Yeah,
it makes me sick. It really does.
Thankfully, those 2 polls don't count for the rankings anymore, for the playoff rankings. So it takes away some of the sting from it, but it's still stupid, and I don't understand why they end up that way. All right, boys, enjoy the night tonight, man. We got Monday Night Football here. That'll be the Chiefs and the Washington Commanders on KMOX, and, of course, we got the World Series Game 3 tonight as well. You guys enjoy it. We'll talk again soon. That's Bernie Miklasz, Matt Pauley. I'm Kevin Wheeler. This has been Rush Hour Sports on KMOX.
It's the